Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Hamim Ahmed from SAT. Thank you for joining us today's session that is hosted with our good partner Detego. If you have any question throughout the webinar, please share them with us and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. Today's topic is enabling rapid imaging over networked environments with Detego. Now I would like to welcome our speaker, Mr. Alex Kirk, Global Sales Director, and Boudica Kurusekera, Director of Marketing. So let's get started. Over to you, Alex.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Hamim. Thank you for everyone for joining today, whether it's morning or afternoon for you all. Today's just quite a quick session. Some of you may be very aware of Detego and some of the products. Some of you may be using our products or trialing our products. So at the end of this, SAT and the team will give you the chance to obviously extend that free 30-day trial of our technology. If there's any further questions or you would like a follow-up session, we're more than happy to do that as well for you. So today is exactly what it says on the tin. We're going to be looking at our remote acquisition tool. So just to give you a little bit of a background, I think it's important that if you don't know about the company, I'm just going to share a few slides just to give you a bit of who we are, what we do, and what are the solutions that we have within the marketplace. So who are we? Detego, we've been in the market around 20 years. Our head office is based here in the UK, just south of London. We are the creators of what we see the unified digital investigations platform. So really we have three solutions that we can sort of break it down to, which is our ultimate suite. That is essentially a suite that covers basically forensics for every single device that we would encounter within the market. So whether that's laptops, mobiles, tablets, and so on and so forth. A lot of our features there are, again, around rapid imaging and very quick exploitation. And really it's how we've got today for our rapid acquisition. So I'm going to be going into a little bit of that just to give you a bit more of a background. We also have case management, which is again for our investigative clients that really need a nice workflow system and how they manage their cases. So all of this information you can see on our website just to get a little bit more of an idea of our solutions in depth. So who are our customers, clients? So military, law enforcement, intelligence agencies, and also enterprise customers as well. So if we look at banks, tax authorities, and so forth, anyone who really needs, again, rapid forensic tools within the work that they're doing. Okay. Moving on to us, again, a little bit about our executive team. I think it is important that people know, who is behind the technology, what experience have they had. So just to give you a quick run through, so Dave Kirk spent 30 years in the technology industry. Sir Admiral Lord West, again, first former Sea Lord, the Minister for Security and Counter-Terrorism, Chief of Defence Intelligence, Commander-in-Chief in Fleet, NATO Commander-in-Chief, East Atlantic and NATO Commander, Allied Naval Forces. So again, a really huge sort of extensive background within the CT and defence space. We also have Sir John Murphy, who is one of the highest ranking police officers within the UK. And there we see Oliver Hoare. So Oliver Hoare comes from more of a cybersecurity background, and he has headed the cybersecurity for the London 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And then lastly, you can see on the list, we have Andrew Lister, who's our current managing director. He spanned a huge military career in over 18 years, and essentially was part of the team who were using forensics in these extremely, should we say, covert or dynamic environments, where Detego is also used for today, which I think gives a really good story and a backing to how he's transitioned into Detego. Okay. So we'll jump straight into it with our customers. Again, background is fairly heavy on, again, military, law enforcement, You can see in there are a few banks, HM Revenue and Customs, tax authorities, and so on and so forth. Okay. So now we'll go into a bit of the solution. What I like to do is, rather than a death by PowerPoint as we see it, I'll show you a few slides just to give a bit of a background, and then I'll jump straight in and show you a live remote acquisition. So what is remote acquisition? So essentially, it's a very lightweight tool from Detego, and it will allow us to remotely acquire an image of a device or a laptop across the network that it still sits on. So a great example for this would be, a lot of our banking clients and customers, they've over the last few years had lots of their employees who've then gone to more of a remote environment where security, has had to be upped. There's no one kind of over their shoulders. Hey, what are they accessing? Are they going into files that they shouldn't be? Are they plugging in, USB sticks and moving these documents and so on and so forth? So remote acquisition is really a quick way of me saying, hey, well, I've got all of my, employees, let's say, within that network. And let's say, for example, someone hands in their notice. So some of our customers have used kind of trigger points. So if something happens, then they would use that as an actionable to really say, hey, now we want to image this computer remotely. This person is actually working, 100 miles away from the office and isn't in as much as they should be. So the solution allows them to, at the click of a button, essentially remote and get an image of that device much faster than they've been looking at with other tools. And of course, they don't have to go on scene and physically have that device there. So there's we'll go into it. There's other ways of, again, installing what we call installing the software on that agent. So a question we get asked often is, hey, what if I'm using the software, but I'm not physically able to go to that, to that laptop and install Detego remote acquisition? So we'll pop into that a bit later. Of course, a main question as well that I have quite often is, what sort of speeds can we see? What sort of speeds are being achieved? How quickly can I acquire a 512 GB device? So these are all really good questions, and in essence, they are dependent on a lot of the speeds of that network. However, because of our ballistic imager, which I'm also going to show you again, that's more of our on-scene rapid imaging tool. It's a combination of the technology which is allowing us to get extremely quick speeds when we're remotely acquiring over the network. Okay, and that's going to allow us to get different sets here, so we can get a full physical of that machine, or we've got 4 options for logical as well, whether that's passwords, then we've got RAM, etc., usernames, and so on and so forth. Okay, so without further ado, I think I'm just going to jump in and give you guys a bit of a live access here. Okay. It's already connected. Awesome. So what I'm doing is remoting into my, just briefly remoting into my test machine here. On the network, we've got, I think, 5 computers on. You may be familiar with this dashboard. So if you have our Detego Ultimate Suite or our Suite Pro or Standard, this is our home screen where we would say, hey, we've got a phone. Let's come in now and start looking at that device. Or we can go into here and license out our ballistic imager or our field triaging tool as well. Okay. Or we've got analyze and manage, which is essentially where we bring in all of our cases to look at. So I'm going to start off with just showing you, before we bring in this extraction, one of the really nice features of Detego Analyze is that we can create these job queues. So these job queues are essentially going to allow us to really get everything in, go and have a cup of tea or get on with what else we need to do. And all of the jobs will run in the background. So whether that's, carving deleted data, pulling out various logical information, whether that's then running, hey, I want to see some OCR, I want to run some steganography, I'd like to run some facial analytics or weapon analytics. So it's just going to allow us to do that full process from start to finish. And then finally, we can end up on reporting that, or even exporting that, or pushing it into what we call a portable viewer, which will allow us to push that again to lawyers, other members of our team. And this can all be automated at the click of a button, which is quite nice. So I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail a bit later on. I want to get into the juicy stuff of showing you, how the remote acquisition works. So really, really simple. These are the 5 agents, so we say, or 5 laptops that are connected within the network now. So it's going to give me all of the breakdown. We can see the names, types, serials, description, location, and version. And this green indicator will basically say, hey, this is online now. So if we want to start imaging, that green light is just telling me, hey, it's live. Okay, so we've got 3 out of the 5 that are live here. So the first one, we may come in and say, hey, well, we want to actually deploy a new agent. So you can imagine some clients will have thousands of these. These are our licenses here that we have deployed out. So you'll have your license usage at the bottom. So we're easily able to say, hey, how many do we have left? If there's new agents that are attached, we have got a refresh button here, which is just going to quickly refresh our agent list. And also, what's an awesome feature is that we can actually image a drive or a device that's plugged into a laptop as well, which means that essentially I can, if I have an employee that's plugged in a USB stick and I want to see, hey, is that USB stick actually got some of our, internal IP that's being, sent to that USB, I can then image that device as well, which is a really nice feature. Okay, so we're going to deploy a new agent here, and essentially deploying a new agent is, I'm just getting a new machine live on that network so that I can then say, hey, I'd like to remotely acquire what's on this device. And I've got 2 options. So we've got a manual, or we've got a remote application. So a manual scenario would be, let's say it's someone who's starting new or afresh, or I'm able to have physical access to their device. I can use a manual installation. All I need to do is save this Detego endpoint, and then I can just plug that to a USB or share that via email, open that up on the other machine, and then I can do a quick install that way. Yeah, so that's manually if you're physically next to the machine or near the machine. Obviously, a lot of people like to use it to the full advantage and do a remote deployment. So all we need in this case would be to get the IP or the computer name that we have on the machine, which again, everyone in IT will have access to this. And then we've got the domain username and the domain password here as well. So once we have this information, we can then just plug that in, click deploy, and that's going to actually, what we call covertly or in the background, install that .exe file on that machine. So if I were to, someone to be connecting to my machine now within the network, I wouldn't see anything going on in, there wouldn't be an installer that would pop up. So it's all done in the background to then place this laptop within that network. Okay. And that's really it for deploying. Very, very simple. You've just got those 2 options. So we've got a physical or a remote version, which is over the network. Okay. So I'm going to come in to one of our clients here. and then we're going to look at acquiring data. So I've got my two options here. So if we go into logical, okay. If you've used Detego before, you'll see this is might look quite familiar. So again, it's going to
Hello,
say,
Alex.
hey, well, yeah.
Are you sharing your screen?
I am sharing my screen, yeah.
But is a one question come that people can see, though we can't see your screen.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I'll just double click. Oh, sorry. Let me just share my screen again. Sorry, I'm clicking it again. It says host is disabled, participant screen sharing.
Can try it now.
Yeah. What I'll do, sorry, if you missed that presentation on the slide, I will just share that out to you. Oh, okay. Wow. Sorry about that, guys. So I think you've I think you've missed quite a lot there. Let me just move this bar over. So okay. So what I'll do, guys, I'll start again. I'll start again from the beginning. The presentation that I've gone through, let me share that out with you so you can have a look at that in your own time. Yeah. Okay, so to start off again, coming back in, all we need to do, if you're familiar with Detego, is come into acquired media. Okay, and then we're going into now network agent. So network agent, you'll see here, these are the devices that I've got, the agents that I have on my system, on my network. Okay. And just going through to take you through deploy agent. I know I've just sort of touched on that. If I need to add a new agent in here, you can see at the bottom, I've got my licenses. So this is how many agents I can have on the system. If I click deploy new agent, I've basically got my two options. So I've got manually and I've got remotely. Okay, so manual would just mean if my machine is accessible in the office, hey, there's a new person starting within sales or finance, and I just want to get a copy of that installer. It's a .exe file. I can place that on a USB stick and then plug it in physically to my machine, my employee machine, for example, and then I can just install, from that .exe file. Okay. The other way would be remotely. So if I'm doing it remotely, I just need to type in the computer name or IP address of the remote target. I then enter the domain username or the domain password, which I have. And then once I've got it there, click this deploy button, and that deploy button is going to send that agent to that machine. If it was being installed on my machine now, nothing would change. I wouldn't see anything in the background. So it is a covert remote deployment as well, which is, obviously very handy at the same time. Okay. That's really all we got up to. So you haven't missed too much after that. The next phase is I was going to just acquire the media. So I'm going to show you a live sort of real time of me pulling data from a computer that is not within my vicinity, that is on the network. So we select the Detego client 2. Just going to go in this bottom right hand corner and select acquire data. And then we've got a physical image or a logical extraction. So we'll go into logical first, just to see again what live files that we can look at here. Okay. So, oh, sorry. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so again, if you've used Detego before, you'll see this looks quite familiar on how we save our cases, descriptions. So we can put this here under media acquisition or test cases. My exhibit name, I can then put as, Joe Smith Joe Smith work laptop, for example. Okay, and then this is the description. So it should automatically pull that device that we're looking at. And then we can obviously go in here and say, hey, you know, what live data are we going to pull? So online activity would be internet artifacts, search histories, etc. Passwords and usernames that have been cached, offline RAM, and then we have the system profile here. And the cool part is, as I showed you earlier, we can save those job profiles. So again, any sort of department or investigation unit will create, or what they tend to do with Detego is create their job queues, meaning that it can go through the whole A to Z. So not only when I image this, I can go away and leave it. Once it's completed, these jobs will automatically start taking place. So immediately we can say, hey, we believe this person has been involved in, you know, taking important financial records, whatever it may be. If these certain financial files, we have the hashes, we can add these sets to our hash lists. And then again, we can just run that hash profile on this as well to say, hey, I just want to know, has this machine, very, very quickly, has this machine or this USB stick got, you know, is it getting hash hits? Has it got the same hash as these files which we believe this person has taken? So you can customize it to exactly how you would like to run your investigations as well. And then we can apply the job queue here, and then that will automatically run that job when it's done. Or we can select none, and we just want to say, hey, you know, I'd like to get, I just want to get this person's online activity. Okay. And then we'll click start. I'll give you an indication of the speed and how it would look. And then we can go back into a test case, which I pulled previously, and start looking at that as well. So top right here, again, it's sending the remote acquisition command. So that's going to automatically start imaging that machine. Okay. At the same time, we can go into, in fact, I'm going to show you another one. We'll leave that in the background. At the same time, I wanted to show you how we can see again, the physical USBs or devices that are plugged into the laptop again. So we can just go into that same network agent, client to acquire data, physical image, and then you see here, so we've got, this is the actual machine itself in terms of the SSD, and then we've got a generic USB device here as well. So I can also extract that. Okay, and then as it's a full physical, there's limited options that I have. Obviously, I have to pull that in and then do a logical job on that as well. So just going to put this as test. Okay, or I can run that job queue, and then I'll click and assign a job queue as well, and then I can start that. So what'll be easier if I just pause. I'm just going to pause this one at the minute, because you'll be able to see this work a lot faster. Okay. And again, I can do this multiple times on multiple devices. It will just kind of pre-stack up my endpoints that I'm pulling in. The average speed, just to give you an idea, I think over a sort of standard corporate 1 gig network, we were achieving remote imaging speeds of around, I think 15 GB was done in 14, 13 minutes. And then as we worked up to sort of 256 GB, I think we got about 45 minutes for that, which is, for us, we believe that's incredible, considering that some on-scene tools that are doing, forensic imaging are slower than this. And then I think at 512, so it's a 512 laptop, which we'd say is probably an average laptop within the corporate space. I think that was coming in at maybe just over an hour and 15 minutes. But again, of course, different networks that we're on. If you've got a super high-speed network, then you should be really impressed with some of the speeds we're achieving. Okay. So again, that's through, yeah, that's just running those jobs now, as you can see. So I'm actually running two simultaneously. And I can basically be away from my computer and all of these jobs will be working in the background. Okay, I'm going to go into my test USB. So this is actually the same USB I'm imaging now. I imaged yesterday, just so I've got some fresh test data for you. And this will give you a little bit of an insight to, you know, how user-friendly Detego is. As soon as we pull that in, it will nicely array all of our file types here. So super easy to go in and say, hey, well, you know, I just want to have a look at picture files for now. And I can do my quick sort of look around, scan, go through my images. You'll see the top right has these tag properties, or they have what we call jobs that have been run. So what we would want to do in this case is pull that image in and say, hey, I can have a quick look if I need to for what I, you know, if there's something of urgency, or maybe it's photo related. I've only got 20 photos, so I can go in and have a look myself. However, usually we'd like Detego to do all the work for us. So this is where our high-powered analytics will come in, and then we can say, right, well, let's. So I'm just going to pause this job for a second. We'd come in and say, hey, we'd like our, you know, our system to start doing our high-powered analytics for us, and then we can go in now and get access to our essentially our list of tools that we've got. So some of you, again, will be very familiar with this. So we've got our text indexer. So text indexer, we typically have to run first through all of our documents. And then once we've done that text indexing, we can then apply our OCR. We can then apply our Rizoka, which is a language translation tool. So normally for any documents that has text in there, that's going to firstly verify what language and basically that there's text within that document, and pull out all of the quick characteristics, word counts, keywords, common phrases, and pieces like this. Analyzing app data, again, it's just going to pull out and recognize any applications or any data within those applications. We've got file header checker. So that's just running files against their true or original name. Again, if someone's saved client list and I've changed it to hello123 or tried to disguise that forensically, that will just pull up, you know, hey, this person has potentially maliciously changed the file to make it, you know, difficult to find. Keyword matching, hash matching, again, I'm sure we're all very familiar with. Photo DNA calculator is a really awesome tool. So in cases where we change or manipulate the, let's say it's a photo or an image, I could crop out 50% or 60% of a screenshot, and then that screenshot would have a, you know, an entirely different hash. So it may not pull up if we're trying to do a hash match. What Photo DNA calculator and matcher will do is it will say, hey, actually, do you know what, Alex? This image we found here, we've partitioned the original, and we found that there's actually 60% of this image which matches the full 100% of this image. And so that's how we're able to essentially find images that have potentially been manipulated on purpose so that people won't find them. Again, in the likes of WhatsApp screenshots and cropping, snipping tools that you have on laptops, it's so easy for someone to go and snip, you know, your top accounts list or sales figures or all of these, snip, save it, send it out, put it on a USB stick, email it. So these tools are going to be really going to pull up these simple ways that people would try and take data. Okay. Text analytics, again, we'll just study the text a little bit more. So we've got common traces of what we call positive negatives. If there's a lot of hate or harassment or sort of negative wording towards people or in chats, then this will pull out some of those analytics. Rizoka GIS translation, again, just pulling out a language translation tool. We pull it to English, but again, English is a very universal language, so we can pull that text to English and then run that GIS translation against that, just to say, hey, what is roughly this, this saying within this document. Okay. Obviously, your exit processing, that's pulling out all of the relevant metadata. So again, if it's photos or cameras taking photos, then we can pull out some of the GPS coordinates. Compound file extractor, that's going to help you to identify any basically compounded files, so zips, RARs, which typically people would compress data or large sets of data that they want to export. That will find that in pretty much seconds to help you quickly go into that. OCR, so again, image to text. So WhatsApp screenshots can be a common one here. But again, if we've got a video and there is imagery within that video, we can use a video frame processing, break that video into frames or basically screenshots. And then we can also run those screenshots with OCR as well to pull out, writings on the wall, maybe book covers, etc., whatever is relevant information for us, depending on how thorough our investigation is. And if you're using drones as well, really nice way of pulling that drone data. Maybe not so specifically for remote acquisition, but more for our on scenes if you are getting involved in drone acquisition as well. Then we've got steganography. So essentially, if anything is hidden within the picture, within the hex, if there's any text that's been sort of maliciously put into that image at all. And then video frame processing, indecent image detection. So again, it depends on, I know there's a few sort of different departments from different backgrounds here. Some may be relevant. But yeah, if you're in the CSAM, then our indecent image detection is really going to go through those photos, files, etc., and pull out, is there a child in there? What is the nudity percentage rating on that as well? Also for picture and video analytics, so we can go a little bit more advanced in this just to show you. And then we have finally our symbols detection as well, if there are any sort of extremist groups or logos that you can embed, and then any material, we would see that coming up. So picture and video, really just a quick drop down. I've got my skin detection, and then I've got my object detection in here as well. So we can go in and say, hey, I just want to identify any people, boats, aircraft, vehicles, weapons, electronic devices, drugs, and nudity. So we've got those there. If you're just going after one, then you can click only the following classes, and then just hone on to, hey, I'm only interested in people, for example, in this case. Okay. And again, in here, we've got, once we've selected our kind of advanced jobs to run, if I haven't got a saved profile, this is kind of a snapshot of those processes which I was explaining to you earlier. So if it's case by case, and we have an exhibit come in, we can actually say, hey, I want to select all of these following processes. Okay, so we want to do picture and video. We believe this person, first we'll run text analytics. Okay, so we can see the relevant ones here to toggle on and off. So cryptocurrency, sentiment analysis, language classification, and we've got key phrase analysis there as well. Okay, and then I can just select whatever I want that's relevant to that. Okay. Next, I can add in reporting. So do I want to just publish straight away the Detego reports, or any actionable intelligence reports, or exhibit validation reports? And I can just quickly add that again into my job list. Include thumbnails of artifacts? Yes. Again, just how extensive I want to be. Hey, do I want to add in my tags? So when I'm tagging, this might be relevant just to a case. It might be relevant within a certain department or a certain offense. If it's sexual harassment, for example, I can then put a tag to all my applicable offenses. And then I've just got a quick tag to say, you know, hey, I only want my drugs tags in here, for example. Okay. And then I've also got my artifacts here. And then the export options. So Detego has a portable viewer, which is really nice. It's essentially a very small version of Detego, where you wouldn't be able to run the full analytics that we can now. But I'm easily able to go through and basically see if I send this out to one of my colleagues, or maybe it's a legal firm, maybe it's actually the police that I'm working with. They can look at basically a small version of Detego, and this can be password encrypted as well, and create that portable viewer. I can actually have that as one of my last tasks, and then click go, and this will start doing everything for me in the background, and then I'll have the full sort of polished article for that portable viewer. So as I say, guys, it's a really nice way. Again, if you're looking for job automation in your current processes, we'll offer, our trial is a full extensive trial. So it's full access for a 30-day period. So you're absolutely more than welcome to, you know, to take a look at this and start looking at our other tools and solutions that we have here. I'm not going to click start on this process, but essentially we're going to go back into our test data that we've pulled here, and that will give you an example of, hey, this is a machine, it's not near me. I've then managed to pull in a USB device that's sat in that laptop, and this is all the data and evidence that I've managed to pull here as well. So we're just going to go into picture files. Okay. As I said, once I've run those analytics in the top right, that's where I'm going to get, hey, this is an item of interest now. So it'll tell me here, this is a mismatched header or description. So potentially someone has changed the name of that. You know, maybe it's on purpose, maybe it's not, but I can quickly go in and see, okay, well, what are the suspicious documents that we have in here? Again, just to give you a bit of an overview to some of the other analytics. So we pulled in here, I think this was vehicle. So that's detected a car. This is detected a face here. This was a WhatsApp chain or thread. So we've gone in here. It's actually pulled out of the text analytics. It's just giving me a quick snapshot of, well, hey, we've detected 106 words within this conversation. Okay. And then we've also got some logos that it's pulled out on the WhatsApp chat messenger as well at the top right of there. Okay. As we move in across, we've got, again, another facial recognition. We've pulled out a long gun. So this, if it does detect a weapon, we've got different layers of granularity in there. And that will be from, rifle, rocket launcher, grenade, which again, may be a little bit extreme in this case. But we can get that with boats, vehicles. If it's a vehicle, it will pull out a motorcycle, and so on and so forth. Okay. And then again, we've pulled out a WhatsApp chat, and it's just give us a bit of an idea on the word count that we've got here. And then again, we've got logo with 75% confidence, and we've also got a mismatch on the header extension. Okay. But I think that's all. Just to finish off, I know obviously this session was to cover remotely acquiring. What I might do for you guys is just finish up on our physical acquisition, which is also our ballistic imager. So again, a lot of clients will take both solutions. So if they have, 10, let's say we've got 10 machines that are here within the office now, and I need to image them, on scene can be a lot faster, and our ballistic imager can pull up to speeds of 1 terabyte in just under 8 minutes, obviously depending on the device we have. But we've got a lot of clients that will just have a multitude of options within that sort of rapid imaging scenario. Okay. Meanwhile, guys, if there's any questions, I think I've got one question just here. Oh, sorry, it was someone that wasn't able to view the screen. But please, if you have any questions now, feel free to pop in, and we'll have a 5-minute session, 10-minute session at the end anyway. So if you can start prepping your questions, maybe it's scenarios where remote acquisition would be relevant. Maybe it's speeds. Maybe there's, just some questions you would have about, hey, how can this, benefit me within my department? Let me know, and I'm happy to answer them in 5 minutes for you. Okay. Okay, so for this example now, I'm just going to image my own machine live, just to give you an idea of the sort of speeds that we're getting on the machine now. So how Ballistic Imager works, it's a little bit different to remote acquisition. All we're doing really is we've got a USB stick or an SSD device. Typically, I use a Samsung T7, which has a very good performance for reading and writing, for pulling to that machine. And all we're doing here is we're licensing our software onto an external device. And then I'm just gonna, on my laptop now, for example, I've got 3 Thunderbolt ports. So all we're doing is exposing the device, the laptop in this case that we have, and rather than pulling it apart and imaging the drive, I can just use the software to essentially rapidly pull or partition, split that image on my machine onto those multiple drives or collectors I have at the moment. So I'll go through here just to give you a bit of a live example, and you can see some of the speeds that we're achieving here. So we'll go straight into a ballistic. Okay, this is my live machine that I have now, just under, well, one terabyte. Okay, and then we've got our options for compression on and off, and then our various checksums that we have. Okay, so I'm just going to click run, and what that should do is automatically pick up the collectors that I have in my machine now. So I've only got 2 SSDs plugged into my device. It should read the software immediately and then just start imaging upon me clicking that run command. Okay, perfect. So this is what ballistic will look like. Very, very straightforward. Just need to give it a minute to recognize the software. And
Hello, Alex. I think there's something connection issue. Sorry for the inconvenience. Hello, Alex. Can
hi
you hear
guys.
me?
Yeah, apologies
Yes.
for that. I think the network just cut out very, very quickly on that.
Yes.
Can you see my screen again?
Yes, we can see now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that was only a quick intermission. So it's still imaging here. Sorry, so we can see we're just under a gig. Again, super quickly. The crown, what we see is the crown indicates essentially the main stick that we select for our ballistic. And then all we need to do is apply index files to our other USB sticks or SSDs that we have. So in theory, what we can have is just one crown, if you like, one master stick, and then we can apply or have maybe 3-4 other SSDs that we keep. And that will just allow us to say, hey, well, if we have a machine that's got, 3 or 4 ports that we can access, I'd say the average laptop on the market probably has between 3, maybe 4. Sometimes it can be 2, but in this case, I'm using 2, and I'm still able to get pretty high speeds for imaging here. So once we've completed this image, that'll only take me 19 minutes. And then all I need to do, I'm just going to abort this. I'm just going to abort this session now for you guys, because obviously that's going to take 19 minutes. And then all I need to do is go back into Detego Analyze, and it will give me the option to rebuild this ballistic. So if I've pushed my ballistic over 2 collectors on scene, I just need to come in here and then just rebuild that as well. Okay. Okay, and then once I've clicked to rebuild them partitions, you'll see it will just automatically be pushed into your cases, which will be down the side here as well. So you'll see that puzzle icon. That puzzle icon just means that image has been sort of restitched back together as a full image. And then you can go through, as I've kind of shown you with remote acquisition, once it's in Detego Analyze, that's when we've really got access to, to do what we want, add job queues, add our analytics, export it out, share it amongst, our team, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I think I'm going to leave it there from my side. I know that's quite a bit of information. I wanted to keep it quite a short session today. I don't know if we'll leave the floor open for sort of 5 minutes if there's any further questions that anyone had. If not, obviously, thank you for joining today. I hope you enjoyed the session, firstly. Please feel free to reach out to SAT and the team, and we can organize you a free 30-day trial. In that trial, you'll get access to have your own remote acquisition trial with various licenses. So you can set up your own test machine and sort of practice acquiring those I think over 3 devices, you can look at doing that. Okay. So yeah, thanks. I think I've just got a question that's popped through now. Okay, it was a clear presentation. Thank you very much. I think that's no questions from your side then, which is great.
Thank you, Alex, for a great presentation. Thank you, Boudica, for attending the session. Thank you all for attending. We hope you have learned, enjoyed these presentations. And if you have any question, anything, you can write to us. We'll forward to the Alex. And thank you so much for attending, and have a wonderful day wherever you are. Thank you so much for attending.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.